record. I never remember to hit record. So our idea for today was to expose our participants to as many sit-side programs as we could fit in the hour. So we've challenged our speakers today to put together just 5-minute presentations selling their program or project. So big shout out right off the bat to all 6 of our speakers who took on that challenge and spent time pulling these presentations together. I really, really appreciate that. Just before we get started, the Alberta Citizen Science Community of Practice Steering Committee has been really conscious of ensuring that we have provided content that addresses Indigenous projects and Indigenous knowledge in Alberta, and also conscious that we have incorporated different knowledge systems in our strategic plan to make sure that we are properly and ethically engaging with Alberta's Indigenous communities. So just as a land acknowledgement here, we want to acknowledge and support the role Indigenous people play in stewardship of waters, lands, and biodiversity in Alberta. By respecting and learning from Indigenous knowledge systems, we strengthen our collective responsibility to steward and nurture the land, waters, and all living beings. And based on the chat, we have folks joining us from all over Alberta, all different territories and regions. So thanks everyone for joining us today. If you haven't attended a Citizen Science Alberta webinar before, nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. So we are just kind of an ad hoc committee at this point, comprised of many different organizations and the GOA who are involved with citizen science projects. You can see a nice list of some of our committee members here. We kind of rotate the chair position, but we all have a hand in pulling these webinars together. And in a slide here, you'll see some of the great work that just this committee has done. And if being part of this committee is something you're interested in, definitely reach out to us afterward and give us a shout. We could always use more help. So some of the recent work of our committee is, you may recall or have been a part of our 4-part webinar series and also in-person workshop in Edmonton, all focused on connecting people to science. And then that proceedings document is now available on our website. So feel free to check out some of the takeaways from that initiative. We've also recently developed a strategic plan that will be updated on the website shortly, and also a new vision statement that will also be updated to the website. And of course, the project that we're really excited about is the Collaboration Hub, which is the website where you can go to post events. You can go there to update the results from your events, celebrate the results. You can connect with citizen science practitioners. You can learn how to develop a citizen science program and much, much more. So if you haven't checked out the hub, we'll put the link in the chat maybe, and we'll have that up on the screen in one of our final slides here. So as I mentioned, we tasked today's speakers with a challenge, which was, can you advertise your program and find your citizen scientist match with just a 5-minute presentation? So here's kind of the structure for the day. We've got until 1 p.m. We'll give our speakers 5 minutes to present, and then we'll have 2 minutes for questions and answers following each presentation. And because it is pretty rapid fire, what we'll do is we'll just pull questions, read questions to our speakers from the chat, and as opposed to having people turn on their microphones and ask questions that way. So if a question comes to mind, pop it in the chat and we'll try to get to it. Because we only have 2 minutes for questions, we'll probably just ask one question, and then our speakers can jump in the chat and respond to any questions that they weren't able to answer verbally. So that's kind of the structure for the day. We'll see how we do. We've got some great diversity of topics today. So I hope that if you are someone looking to get engaged with citizen science, that you'll find your match with this webinar. With that, I'll invite Steph, our first speaker, to share her screen and start her presentation. Steph is also a member of our steering committee. So Steph, take it away.
Thank you, Brad. I'm just going to open up the screen share here and then start my presentation. So you should see some flowers. And now you're seeing an arnica flower, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
looks great.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm Stephanie Weisenbach, the Executive Director with Nature Alberta. If you're not familiar with Nature Alberta, we're a nonprofit organization dedicated to connecting people with nature and empowering them to conserve our wild species and spaces. Nature Alberta hosts the Alberta Biodiversity Challenge annually to help encourage more people to get outside and learn about the nature around them while contributing important data for science and conservation. The Alberta Biodiversity Challenge invites anyone and everyone in Alberta to get outdoors and take part in a photo BioBlitz between Thursday, June 11th to Sunday, June 14th. The goal is to document as many wild species as you can. So go for a walk around your neighborhood or plan to visit your favorite park and take pictures of every wild species you spot. And I mean everything. Birds, plants, mammals, fish, moss, lichen, mushrooms, and insects. Everything is fair game, except, of course, your cat, dog, flowers in your garden, and, of course, animals at the local zoo. All of the species you observe can be included in the Alberta Biodiversity Challenge through iNaturalist. You just need to set up an easy-to-use iNaturalist account, upload the photos of species taken between June 11th and 14th. If you aren't doing so in real time, you have until June 30th to upload your observations. And that's it. The Alberta Biodiversity Challenge results automatically filters in your observations through iNaturalist's projects. Super fast 19-second crash course on uploading an observation to iNaturalist in real time. I was trying to sneak up on butterflies for a picture perfect screen record for you, but they kept landing on me. So the best photo angle I ended up getting was this backlit branch way up high. Now watch iNat in action. So I press the photo button, it opens up the camera on my phone. I zoom into this super far away butterfly and click the photo button. It takes a few seconds and then it comes up with an ID of morning cloak. I click save and it adds it to my observations on iNaturalist. Here's a screenshot of just 8 observations made during last year's Alberta Biodiversity Challenge that shows a good range of types of species, including a sound recording, which can be super helpful when you can hear a bird calling in the reeds but can't get a photo. Our provincial coordinator volunteer, Greg Pohl, helps us to set up the projects each year. You can go to naturealberta.ca/biodiversity-challenge to easily access each one. You can join the project to stay updated and quickly bring up the results in your own iNaturalist account under projects. If you don't join the project, your observations will automatically be filtered in regardless. So if you upload an observation in Edmonton during the Alberta Biodiversity Challenge dates, that observation will automatically be added to the Metro Edmonton project and the Alberta project. If you are somewhere that doesn't have a regional project, for example, Lacombe, and add an observation, it will automatically be added to the Alberta-wide project. Here are the final results from last year's Alberta Biodiversity Challenge, which ran from June 12th to 15th, and observations from those days could be posted up until June 30th. We then left the project open for identifications until July 31st before tabulating the final results. Overall in Alberta, we had over 11,700 observations of over 1,800 species by over 900 observers, identified by 677 volunteer identifiers. The BioBlitz has seen significant growth from year to year, and we want to continue that trend, so please consider participating wherever your adventures take you on that weekend. Each year, we also have a friendly competition between Metro Edmonton and Metro Calgary. Edmonton tends to win the competition for number of observations and number of species. However, Calgary always has more overall participation. We're working on building participation in other cities around the province and are open to adding more if there are keen individuals in putting their city or town on the INAT map. And I would be happy to add those numbers to the results tables. So you can just reach out to me if you're interested. When you visit the project page in a browser, this is what it looks like. You can scroll down to see the map of what is included in the Metro Edmonton area. There's a large region around Edmonton included in Metro Edmonton project. In the iPhone app, you can find this map by clicking on project requirements and then location. On my Samsung app, I can't find the map, so you can just visit the web page for reference for that. Similarly, there's a large area included around the Metro Calgary project area as well. And we look through the photos of the top observers, so most observations in most species in each region, and pick a few excellent photos to be the featured sightings on the Alberta Biodiversity Challenge webpage until next year's challenge. Thank you.
Amazing job, Steph. That was perfect timing. Thank you. Do you know if people go out individually or are people like getting together in groups to participate in the challenge?
A little bit of both. So we even run a tree planting for biodiversity event on the Thursday evening in Edmonton, where we have guided citizen science walks, and then we partner with Root for Trees, and you can go plant some trees with Root for Trees. You just can't add the trees that you're planting. Um, and then we have lots of individuals that are out all weekend trying to get the most species or the most observations. And definitely watch out for any other groups. Some of our naturalist clubs have events that weekend as well to help get people out.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds like a great time, and I love the challenge between the two cities. If there are questions for Steph, please throw them in the chat, and then Steph can keep an eye on that and respond to them that way. Okay, thank you so much. Let's jump to our next presentation. Dr. Haynes, did you want to jump on and share your screen? I'll let you know when we're seeing the right version here. That looks great to me.
Sorry, I couldn't reach my mic when I
That's
shared.
okay.
There we
We
go.
can hear you now.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's see. Okay, that looks good to me.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I'm going to be talking about my work on Franklin's ground squirrels in Alberta. So this is a research project that we have and a citizen science project we have ongoing as a partnership between Nature Alberta, MacEwan University, and a few other partners. So Franklin's ground squirrels are a little less well known than some of the other species. So on the bottom of the screen, you can see pictures of some of the more common squirrel species like red squirrels or Richardson's ground squirrels. Franklin's ground squirrels look a little different than them. They have a reddish brown body. They have a gray tail, which is quite long for a ground squirrel. They have a gray face, and that color pattern sets them apart from other squirrel species in the province. If you want to learn more about squirrels and how to identify them, I will show a link at the end of my presentation that'll let you download a squirrel ID guide that we created. So the reason we're looking at Franklin's ground squirrels is that naturalists in Alberta said that this species was in decline. And when we compiled the observations that we currently have, we definitely can see a pattern where the species has disappeared from large portions of its historical range. So the black check marks are anywhere where it's been observed in the past 5 years. And the gray observations are the ones that have been observed anywhere from 6 years to more than 100 years ago. And the majority of these records where they disappeared from places are actually from 30s, 40s, 50s. So quite a long time ago. So from this, you can see that they used to be in places like Red Deer and Edmonton and Camrose, and they've disappeared from there. We still have some records from places that I'll talk about in a few minutes, But we have lost them even from places like Miquelon Lake Provincial Park. So even protected areas they've disappeared from. Habitat's probably the main reason that they've disappeared. So they like dense understory, like you can see in these photos. And they really need that. They will come out into the open, but they'll only stay close to the edge so that if predators show up, they can run right back into that habitat. And that's a problem in central Alberta because we've converted a good chunk of our forested landscape either to agriculture or urban or other land uses. And so there just isn't much habitat left for them. So the result is that they're pretty much only found in parks. And you can see some pictures here that we took while we were doing field work. They're actually not scared of people for the most part. They're like your typical squirrel. They'll come in and they'll beg for food. But they really do need that intact forest in that area to be able to live or intact shrubs. And so that's probably why they're declining. So our goals are to better document where they're living in Alberta. We are trying to use these observations to not only figure out where they live, but what are some important things like what's their habitat, what diet do they have, and also trying to figure out why they're in decline. Habitat's definitely part of it, but if they've disappeared from protected areas, then that's not the only thing going on, because that habitat is still here. And this is where you come in because I usually have a team of 1 to 2 technicians to help me. This species is only active from May to August. So we have limited time and limited resources to be able to document this species. So every observation that you can get is really helpful. There's a few ways that you can help. One is that you can join iNaturalist and submit observations. That's actually where I got a lot of the current observations of Franklin's ground squirrels. We initially found them through iNaturalist and through people submitting them to me directly. And because of that, we were able to use those observations to actually plan out where we would do field work. It's been immensely helpful for our project. But also, like I said, we can't be everywhere. And the more observations we have, the more we can learn about, when they're active, when they're in hibernation, when they, what habitat they're using, and help us really tease apart what is happening with this species. You can also submit historical observations through the Nature Alberta website. This is also where you can download for a free squirrel ID guide if you'd like to learn more about squirrels. I've actually created a guide that allows you to learn more about contributing to this project. So it summarizes some of the main things that I said in my presentation today and also lists individual sites. So if you, for example, want to plan a trip to go look for Franklin's ground squirrels, you can use this guide to help you figure out where you could go, what parks have them, and how can you find them. So yeah, please look up the guide and please help us with our observations.
Amazing. Thank you again. Perfect timing. Our speakers are doing great so far. Feel free to throw any questions in the chat regarding this project, and we can address those questions moving forward here. I know you showed a couple QR codes, and maybe if you want to throw even a couple links in the chat for folks to click through during our next presentations, that'd be amazing.
Sure.
Do you have any graduate students working on this project right now, or is it just yourself focused on the research?
So I'm a professor at MacEwan, so we're undergrad focused. So all of this work is being done primarily by undergraduate students and myself.
Really cool. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
it's really great experience for them.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, if there's any students on the on the call and you're at MacEwan, reach out. Oh, there is a question related to hybridization. Is hybridization with other species possible? Interesting.
We don't have any evidence of hybridization, either here or where they're more extensive. They're not super closely related with some of the ground squirrels, and they don't share habitat with them. So the only one that they really are closely associated with is the 13-line ground squirrel. Um, and even those ones, 13 lines seem a little more resilient to human activity. So yeah, we don't have evidence that that's a problem. We think that there's maybe some other things going on. Humans killing them is definitely a problem. That is why For example, we lost them from Edmonton. It's probably because of human persecution. Edmonton got rid of their ground squirrels at one point several decades ago. And then the habitat fragmentation keeps them from recolonizing. So there's a few different things going on that contribute to the decline.
Mm, very interesting. Okay, great. Thank you for your presentation. Our next speaker is Sydney. And after Sydney, we'll jump to Callum. But Sydney, if you want to take it away, we'll jump into your presentation.
Okay, just share my screen.
Yeah, I'll let you know when we've got the right page here.
Can we all see that?
Yes, that looks great.
Okay. So make sure stuff was in my view. Perfect. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I am here with the Alberta Native Bee Council. My name is Sydney. I am a Native Bee Stewardship Specialist, and we are an organization that was formed in 2017 because there was a lack of information out there about our native bees in the province, and a lack of action to protect them as well. So our mission is to conserve them through advocacy, education, and collaborating with other organizations, with the hope that this will support our native bees and other pollinators. So we want to learn more about them. We want to promote and enhance the conservation of their habitat. And we also provide education and outreach, and we're a collaborative network of all those organizations that I mentioned before. So in the province, we have around 375 species of wild bees, and some estimates are as close as 400. And 30 of those are bumblebees. And these are our social bees, just like honeybees. So they live in hives, whereas the rest are solitary and usually ground nesting. So they don't have big nests or hives like bumblebees do. So in the province, a lot of our bees are data deficient. So we don't have enough information about how they're doing because no one's really been looking into it in too much detail. But we do know that there's decline going on. The number one thing that they are facing is habitat loss. And after that is pesticides, pathogens, and climate change effects. So we do know there is decline going on, and we do have 5 species that are classified as at risk by the government. So bumblebees, as mentioned, we have 30 species, and these are the ones that are recognized to have species at risk status. So we've got Bombus occidentalis, Bombus bohemicus, Bombus sucklei, and Bombus terricola, or terricola, however you want to pronounce that. So, and some of these can be found in some of our urban spaces. So bohemicus and occidentalis have been found in the Calgary area. So the bumblebee life cycle, like I said, it's like honeybees. They're social. The queen will come out in the spring. She'll look for a place to have her first set of brood, her young. And then that set of young will go out and be the workers, and they will bring back pollen and nectar for the next set of young. And so this continues through the summer until late summer. The last brood will have new queens and males. The new queens will go out, they'll mate, and then they'll overwinter, and the cycle repeats. So this is just a quick picture of what those brood cells look like, the little eggs. And this is my segue into saying, how do we help the bumblebees in our urban spaces, especially where habitat loss is the most pronounced? So they need shelter and they need food. So what we do as one of our monitoring programs here is build bumblebee nest boxes, and we have instructions on our website how to do these. And so we encourage people to build these or take one of our workshops to build these, go out into their backyard, find a place for these, and report back on the information. And we've been doing this since about 2018, and this information has improved the box design over time. It has improved the occupancy rates in urban areas, and it has improved placement and style and things like that, which has all over increased the occupancy rates. So you can also plant flowers around your nest box to help with the bumblebees there, and this is also on our website. And we also have guides to help you identify which bumblebees you can find in your nest boxes if you see them around and occupying. So here's an example of how that works. I'm running out of time. And we have all this information on our website of where to place it, how to place it, different options, and how to have bumblebees occupying your space, and you can connect with us on our social media to learn more about our programs. And I have a box here as a prop, so you can see kind of what it looks like here. Hopefully you can see me. I guess I can stop sharing my screen. This is what the box looks like, just in here, and you just put cotton inside. Bumblebees go in here, and the size prevents rodents and birds and things like that from getting in. So these are what they look like. You just place them out in your yard, and this contributes to providing nesting resources for bumblebees in urban spaces.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you so much. There is one question in the chat asking about the current nest box with improved occupancy. Was that introduced recently? They'd like to know if the ones they're using are old or new.
So some of the older ones, so this one here, as you can see, the lid is flush with this side here. So the newer boxes, the lid kind of goes a little bit over like a lip. So that can help prevent water getting inside. Because that's been a slight issue we noticed with some of the older boxes. So that might be something that can improve the box design. We've also noticed over time, some people want to paint them a really bright color, like purple or lime green. But bumblebees aren't looking at these as like a flower. They're looking at these as a nest site. So keeping it a natural color has been found to improve occupancy. And I will put a link in the chat to our webpage on this. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see with our data what we found over time with the occupancy rates and how we've improved the placement and the style and design and all that to improve those rates. So, and there's also a link on this page, so you can download the form to report back on your box if you already have one, or to build a box if you don't have one yet. And if you sign up for our social media, you can keep on top of where we are doing our workshops. You can hopefully get down on one of those and build yourself one through workshop.
Amazing. So much information. Thank you. Do you know if your team has been, combing through the INAT data to better understand bee populations? Is that something that you've participated in?
It's not something we've done too much participation in. I know there are some issues with the quality of images that can be put in there, and there can still be issues with the IDs, especially even when it says research grade. Sometimes it's not quite research grade. So we're kind of following the footsteps of a couple other prominent researchers who also don't really use iNaturalist as of right now. I do still like it overall as a citizen science thing. It's just not something we're currently doing as part of this monitoring program.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Like the photos aren't going to be useful for every organism, for every species. So that's good to know. Great, thank you. I see there's, if there are extra questions in the chat, please throw them in there and Sydney can jump in there and answer those for you. Next up is Callum.
Out loud.
Oh, if you can put it in the chat for now, we'll save verbal questions to the end if we have time.
Okay, sounds good.
Just because we're moving so quickly. Yeah. Callum is next, but I'm going to help Callum out by sharing their slides for them. And then after Callum, we'll have Dr. Sahigian follow Callum. So let's see. Okay, Megan.
Perfect.
Does that look okay?
That looks good to me. Can you guys hear me all right?
Good. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Take it away, Callum.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brad, and thank you everyone for having me. So yeah, let's dive in. My name is Callum MacDonald. I'm a botanist based in Edmonton. I'm a member of the CITSI Alberta Steering Committee, and I'm also an iNaturalist ambassador. So I'm pleased to speak with you today about using iNaturalist as a tool to gather data about plant biodiversity and track when plants bloom. Next slide. So to start, let's talk about iNaturalist, which other presenters have already done a fair bit, but I'll add a bit more. So iNaturalist is a free online platform that can be accessed by smartphone app or desktop. Users can upload photographs of organisms through the app or website, and the AI computer vision tool suggests possible identifications of that organism. Once uploaded, the date, time, location, and photos of the organism then appear as a pin on the iNaturalist data map and become part of the biodiversity database. iNaturalist community experts can then agree or disagree with the organism's identification, which refines the database quality and accuracy. Users can also freely and easily interact with observations on iNaturalist by searching for specific species or searching for all species in a given area. There's no need to be an expert in anything to use iNaturalist. All you need to do is take photos and upload them. This makes iNaturalist the perfect citizen science tool. And to be clear, although I'm emphasizing plants in this talk, iNaturalist can be used for organisms of all kinds, just like Stephanie said. So plants, fungi, insects, mammals, birds, fish, etc., all sorts of things. Next slide. As a botanist, documenting plant biodiversity is an incredibly enjoyable and valuable exercise for me. Every time I go out for a walk, hike, or paddle, I try to document as many species as I can. In a small way, I like to use iNaturalist to contribute to a living species list everywhere I go. Collecting plant biodiversity data using iNaturalist can also inform conservation goals, such as tracking new locations of rare plants or identifying regions with high biodiversity that should be considered for protection. You might even snap a picture of a native plant species that has never been documented in Alberta before. Or you might find the first occurrence of a new invasive species, allowing swift eradication efforts. Many invasive species managers are increasingly using iNaturalist data to monitor and respond to invasive species infestations. Next slide. So turning to flowers and blooming time, let's start with some terminology. So phenology, this word phenology refers to seasonal and cyclic phenomena that occur in organisms. In the case of plants, this often refers to the period during which plants are in bloom. When you upload an iNaturalist observation, users can manually add phenology data to indicate whether a plant is budding, blooming, or producing fruits and seeds. This data is automatically included in a graph on the main page for each species that shows the bud, bloom, and fruiting times for that species in a given area. This data can then be viewed by anyone from regular folks all the way to researchers who are looking at changes in when, where, and how long flowers bloom. If there's a flower that you really want to see, but you don't know when it blooms, you can find out by checking the phenology graph for whichever plants you're interested in. Next slide. So each year, from May 25th to 31st, biologists and citizen scientists alike participate in the annual May Plant Count. This event, hosted by the Alberta Native Plant Council, involves iNaturalist users heading outdoors to photograph plants that are in bud or bloom. The data is then uploaded into iNaturalist and contributes to the phenology database for all of the species observed. This data can then be used by researchers to monitor changes over time about which plants are blooming and when. The May Plant Count events are the perfect opportunity for anyone who is ready to dive into spring, explore nature, and contribute to important data about plants. Last slide. So to wrap up, let's discuss how you can get involved in biodiversity monitoring and plant phenology data collection. First and foremost, and I think you're hearing this in all of our talks today, I would strongly encourage you to download the iNaturalist app if you have not done so already. Then consider participating in one of the upcoming May Plant Count activities or other biodiversity events that use iNaturalist throughout the year. You can also create your own iNaturalist project or add data to the Provincial Conservation Databases project. That's the ASIMS database. They have their own project on iNaturalist. Or you can become an iNaturalist advocate through their new ambassador program. Be sure to check out the CITSci Alberta Hub for biodiversity projects that you can get involved in, or post your own citizen science project and events. All right, that's a wrap. Happy iNatting, and thank you everyone for listening.
Great job, Callum. I love the phenology aspect of this. Callum, you might know this question. Is there an anonymous way of contributing to iNat for people under 18?
An anonymous way. That's a good question. I'm not totally sure. Sorry, as an adult, I don't recall reading about if there's like a limit, like an age limit for who's allowed to use iNaturalist.
Yeah, I was looking into this yesterday. You have to be over 13, and you do have to have an account. And if someone wants to participate in a similar type of app, the Seek app doesn't require the same login, and
Right.
those photos are not uploaded to iNat. So it's just kind of like a more gamified version without the
Hmm.
authentication required.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. The Seek app could be a good alternative. And also, when you do create an iNaturalist account, you do have the option of setting your own username, and you don't have to display your personal name on the page. So if you wanted to keep it at least anonymous in so far as your name is displayed, I know you're able to just not put your actual name. Though it would still use your like iNaturalist, the organization would still receive your name and email when you register. But yeah, that wouldn't be publicly displayed or visible if that was your choice.
Great. Great. Thank you, Callum. There's one question in the chat that maybe you can respond to um, in the chat regarding how you've taken such beautiful photos and if you have any recommendations for how to get those great photos.
Really quick for folks who use just your phone, I would encourage you to look into the special phone case macro lens kits. So that's what I use. I think mine is the Sandmark brand, which I think is American, and folks may not want to go in that direction at this time. But yeah, I have a special phone case that I put my phone in, and then I have different macro lenses that I can just screw onto the case that position themselves in front of my phone's camera, and that gets me 30 times magnification, which is how I get lots of my good macro photos. So yeah, that can be a good way. I think those typically, depending if you get a phone case one or a clip-on one, those can range from like 40 or 50 bucks all the way to $200 or $300. I think mine was about 180, and that's been a wonderful investment over the years. I'm really glad I got it.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thanks, Callum.
Great.
Okay, we'll move right along to our next presenter, Dr. Sahigian. If you want to try sharing your screen there, I'll let you know how that's looking.
Sure. Just get. How's it look?
Ah, perfect. Yes, take it away.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. So my name is Dr. John Sahigian. I'm a member of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Calgary, and today I'm coming to you to ask for some help in finding out a little bit about Alberta's mosquitoes. A little bit for those of you who may not be as familiar with mosquitoes as others, only female mosquitoes bite, and they do it because they need protein in blood for reproduction. And in fact, some mosquitoes, such as the middle mosquito I have on this set of three, Wyomia smithii, do not need to blood feed at all because they get enough protein during larval development. Now, mosquitoes are extremely sensitive to climate change, and so temperature is very important to them. As a result, we've seen an increase in the number of species in Alberta in recent years, and that includes about 5 new species in the last 10 years. All of these species are native to North America, though, except for one, Culex pipiens, the northern house mosquito. And that mosquito I just kind of have shown here down below at the bottom. This mosquito is concerning because it's an important vector for zoonoses. So those are diseases that mosquitoes can pick up from wild animals and then transmit to humans. One of those is West Nile virus, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. In fact, Culex pipiens is the mosquito that caused the initial outbreak of West Nile that spread in eastern North America several decades ago. We first found Culex pipiens in Edmonton in 2018 and then Calgary in 2022, and now it's widespread across southern Alberta municipalities, although we really don't know fine scale where it's found yet. This mosquito is really good at using urban environments, things like tires that we leave out or just water-filled plants containers, anything like that. This mosquito will lay eggs in, which will develop and then inhabit nearby areas. So we're interested in knowing where this mosquito came from, where it may go, and what it's doing here. So we're looking at how widespread this mosquito is, what it's doing when it's out in the environment, and there are some complications with traditional mosquito sampling, hence why I'm here. There are limited municipal resources, and usually they focus on specific species or areas. The traps we use to trap mosquitoes are often quite sensitive to the areas we put them in, and mosquitoes like Culex pipiens, which are urban species, may not be trapped in the same way that our native species are. It also only captures adults at specific times of day, and our traps aren't really geared towards catching mosquitoes that are specifically interested in humans, which matters from a disease perspective. So we're asking Albertans to bite back and to help us find out more about Alberta's mosquitoes. We have 2 active citizen science programs ongoing through the over the course of the year. One is focused in the fall to spring, and the other is focused in the summer. And I'll provide links to those in the chat once I'm done talking. Our first project is Bite Back, and it was motivated by one of my students who just wanted to know, how are mosquitoes surviving the winter here? This is a picture of Calgary not too long ago, and maybe actually in the next couple hours, depending on what happens with snow here. So we asked Albertans to mail us mosquitoes they find indoors during colder months. This is the house mosquito, so we kind of had an idea it was probably in houses. But we asked people to smash mosquitoes they found in their house on windowsills, etc. Many of them look dead, so you can just slip them into a plastic bag and then put them in an envelope and either mail them into an address we have on our website, or if you're in Calgary, we have a drop-off center. Don't worry if the mosquitoes are squished either. We use mosquito DNA to identify the skeeters. And then if you're interested, you can provide a little bit of information and we can let you know what mosquito species we found in your house. So what did we find last year? Well, Culex pipiens, this invasive mosquito, was the most abundant species. Notably, though, the other species were from more rural areas. So of these others I have indicated, we only found Culex pipiens in municipal submissions from Edmonton, Lethbridge, and Calgary. Culex pipiens was most commonly found in people's homes, too, and we're still accepting mosquitoes. Or you can be a skeeter seeker. In this case, all we ask is for you to smash a mosquito that's trying to bite you, put it in a little tube we'll supply, and then you can drop it off, or in this case, mail it as we're trying to expand this program. Previously, last year, we collected more than 280 mosquitoes from 200 people from 14 different locations. And Culex pipiens was among the most abundant, indicating it's out there and it's interested in us. So we're actively looking for more folks to get involved. So we're still biting back. And if you want to squish mosquitoes for science, you can become a skeeter seeker. If you're not in Calgary regarding the Skeeter Seeker project, you ideally could email us, because right now we're partnering with the City of Calgary to distribute our tubes for collection. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, let me get back here. That's a fascinating project, and mosquitoes famously are obsessed with me, so I'll feel like a little bit better maybe if they're biting me and I'm able to at least submit it to your lab.
Yeah, we're happy to. I mean, we can let you know what it is, and you'll contribute to us better understanding mosquitoes in Alberta.
Very cool. Yeah, I love that. Thanks for throwing that link in the chat as well. If there are questions regarding the mosquito project, please pop them in the chat, and Dr. Sahigian can jump to those in the next few minutes here. Okay, moving right along, we have one more speaker who is having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. So let's see, Sasha, if we're able to get your presentation up. I'll let you know when it is showing. So I'm seeing the slides, and then if you go to present, let's see if we see the full screen. Okay, that looks really good. Seems to be working right now. So take it away, and if we have any issues, we can always, send slides as a follow-up or something like that.
Super, thank you. Good afternoon, my name is Sasha Curran. This was initially developed as part of an applied research project for the University of Guelph's horticulture program. That research now informs this iNaturalist project, the Emerald Ash Borer Monitoring in Alberta. Some quick facts about EAB. Since it was detected in 2002, it has killed hundreds of millions of ash trees. These ash trees die within 1 to 3 years of being infested, and 99.9% of infested urban ash trees are lost within 6 years. Currently in Alberta, there are no predators effective at containing its spread, and those communities impacted by EAB already have experienced higher city temperatures, losses in biodiversity, and measurable negative health impacts. What to know about EAB? It is a bright metallic green beetle. The shape of its abdomen and its back creates a distinctive D-shaped exit hole that is unique only to EAB. And the purple-red metallic abdomen also distinguishes from other agrulus species seen in Alberta. It is capable of flight, but it is the transportation of infested firewood that people are moving from region to region that has enabled it to spread so far and so quickly. These beetles are really, really tiny, about the size of a grain of rice. Once they emerge from the inner bark, they begin feeding on leaf margins, And the larvae, that's actually what kills the ash trees, is that they cut into the phloem and the cambium of the tree and interrupt the flow of water and nutrients. EAB attacks all Northern American ash species, including those planted extensively in Alberta, and that would be the green and white ash trees. And in northern climates like here in Alberta, EAB has a 2-year life cycle, and it can survive inside their tree cavities with temperatures reaching below minus 40 degrees Celsius. What's at risk in Alberta and identifying a key monitoring gap for this project? We have a lot of trees at risk. In Edmonton alone, there are over 95,000 public ash trees. In Lethbridge, there are roughly 16,000. And in Calgary, there are more than 70,000 public ash trees. These trees are managed and cared for by our municipalities and are actively being surveyed and monitored. However, where I feel the gap can be covered by this project are these gaps here. And what these graphs illustrate is that approximately in Edmonton, 60% of all trees in Edmonton are on private property, and they are not actually being monitored. In Lethbridge, that's 50%, and in Calgary, way much more trees are not being monitored, and that's about 70%. And with this pest, we stand to lose these trees quickly. What to look for through mid-June through to the end of October, and these are conclusive signs. One are the D-shaped exit holes in the outer bark, and the other is actual beetle flying or sitting on a leaf. There are some other symptoms that are inconclusive, but definitely act as red flags for our field technicians and municipalities. And one of them is tree stress and decline. We look for the upper canopy thinning, and it gets worse and worse as time goes on. And also we see that bright branch dieback. There are other symptoms such as splitting bark, the epicormic shoots, or people call them suckers, and we have the woodpeckers that fleck to get access to the larvae, and we call that blonding. So those are other symptoms to look for. Supports and resources for the project. There is a website called Community Field and Forest, and you'll find on that website all sorts of monitoring and reporting resources, including how to identify ash trees, what are the signs and symptoms, links and phone numbers for reporting, what to do if you find a beetle. As well, there are free downloads, and this is a tree monitoring card that has been created, as well as posters that you can print off and distribute in your community. There are 2 goals for this project. One is detection and the other is decline. In detection, if you happen to see a D-shaped exit hole on the ash bark or beetles on or near the tree, we are asking you to record and report those immediately to your municipal authorities. And the second thing that we're monitoring for is asking people to do this regularly, is to look for advanced tree stress symptoms, and we saw pictures of those in a previous slide. Early detection is possible when we work together to share important data, and that's between the municipal surveillance programs as well as citizen science monitoring projects like this one. And early detection through both of this collaboration can slow the spread and impact of EAB. Know that your observations and reports are directly contributing to broad detection and rapid response efforts. If you have any questions, please email me. And there is the website address, as well as the address for the iNaturalist project page. Thank you.
Thanks, Sasha. That was perfect. And I threw the website into the chat box there for folks who want to check it out. For trees that are infected, is there any hope for them or treatment that can support these trees from, I guess, getting too sick to the point where they can't be saved?
There are a couple of chemical treatments that have been approved by Health Canada, and they can be treated for quite a long time, but it's extremely expensive at the cost of municipalities. So they look for the high value ash trees to treat more than anything else. Yeah.
Gotcha. Which I guess is why early detection is so critical for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. I know a few questions came in the chat for the mosquito project, so I'm expecting a few to come in now for the tree project. So if you want to keep an eye on the chat there, Sasha, that'd be great. And then I will go ahead and share my screen and invite Megan to walk us through a few of our closing slides here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bradley. All right. So just a quick thank you to everyone for taking the time to come and bring your expertise to everyone who was interested in learning today. That was so fabulous. It was really interesting to hear about all of those projects, and some of them are completely new to me as well. So I got to learn something new and really appreciated that. So thank you all so much for coming and speaking today. Next one. So I hope that of those who came to view and listen to this webinar, that maybe people are inspired to get involved with citizen science. So here you can see, if you were listening, if you're a member of the public, you can go to our citizen science hub and you can look up a whole variety of different projects to get involved with. These ones that were featured here today are some of many others that are available across Alberta. And we have many of those projects listed on our website. So I encourage you to check that out and find a project to join. And further, if you are someone who is running a citizen science project, I encourage you to bring that project to this website so people can find it. You can register in our directory so that people are able to contact you. You can add events that you have going on. You can put some of your results of what you found from your projects, and you can also share resources as well. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can engage with this website and find more citizen science projects and get involved with them. So awesome. If you want to connect with us further after this webinar, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also contact us by email at info@citscialberta.com. Next. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We will be taking a short break over the summer months, and then we will be back in the fall with more webinars and more materials. So thank you all
Thanks,
so
Megan.
much.
Yeah, thanks. And I think, Deepali, did you still have a question that you wanted to ask one of our speakers?
Yes, it was a question for actually all of the speakers and for you guys as well. The best place in my mind as a junior science, senior high science teacher is to get them when they're young. So, do you guys have a plan to come in if a teacher requests to talk about what is citizen science and how they can contribute, that kind of stuff? If you don't, this is food for thought.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Dr. Sahigian might have a response ready for you.
Should I ask the second question as well?
Oh, was there another question? Go for it. Ask your other question. Yeah.
So the second question is, in trying to use iNaturalist with my kiddos in the past, my challenge has been I can't allow them even with non-name identifying things. The source where that picture is taken becomes their geotag when they post it. So if there was some kind of workaround, and Seek seems to be a good workaround, if that data is going to be used by the project. So if for the people that are doing the projects, if they had a method of taking iNaturalist as well as iSeek data, that might be some way for different schools to get involved.
Yeah, good questions. Dr. Sahigian, did you want to respond to that first one about engaging youth?
Yeah, so I think that's a great point, and it's something that I think a lot of us do think about. We have previously in my lab gone into classrooms and things to talk about some of the work and invite people to be involved with the citizen science. But it's also the case where usually someone has to reach out to us. So there's not like a central for that kind of thing. We're happy to go into a classroom to talk about mosquitoes and how people can contribute. But for the most part, we don't really have like a central place where someone could just be like, can I sign up for this? There are other resources for scientists to talk to students more generally that are out there, but I'm always happy to talk to any school groups, et cetera, if anyone would has that kind of interest or to be, find that kind of connection. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. And also on our CitSci Alberta website, we have a directory of practitioners with their contact information and their areas of interest. So if you want to check out the directory, you could probably connect with someone who's got that specific area of interest that you're looking for. And also, Deepali, I think your question is really timely because I've just this week put together a presentation for the Alberta Teachers Association Science Council, and I'll be presenting that this weekend, talking about how youth can get involved in citizen science projects in Alberta to get science and research in the classroom. And one conversation that I had with Callum, one of our speakers yesterday, was around maybe a workaround is bringing a group of students on a nature walk outdoors, having them point out the organisms that are of interest, but the teacher is actually the one responsible for taking the photograph and uploading the results. There is also some interesting sections on the INAT website that are specifically designed for educators for how they can use INAT. One of the recommendations is to consider using Seek. And then another great resource is the Zooniverse website. And on Zooniverse, all of their projects have contact information for the project lead so that you can connect students with the actual scientists who are running those projects. So a few options for you, but yeah, I would love to see you at another webinar or keep in touch and let us know how it goes.
For sure. Now I remember. I'm not going to be at the conference this year, but I did notice your name on that list. And I was like, oh, I'm going to miss this. And now I got a preview of what's coming.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Maybe I'll send you my slides, then you can check them out. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And you said the presentation, this recording will be shared after?
Yeah, we'll make sure this gets uploaded to the website, and someone else, maybe you asked for some of the links to be compiled, and I think we can do that as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks again, everyone. I'll go ahead and end today's session, but really appreciated each of our speakers providing fantastic rapid fire presentations. It's almost harder to do than a long presentation because you don't have to be so choosy about what slides you keep in. And then, like I said, we'll make sure this presentation gets uploaded to our website. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your week.